Come on, do it. Kill me. I'm
Hurry up.
here.
What's happening? There it is. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. This is the final Friday, the Friday finale of Friday with the Fellas for July 2026. What's up, B? What's up, James? You guys know who we are. And of course, I'm Sonia. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm lively.
Lively. So lively. Let me tell you who's not doing live. We're going to get right into it. Well, she's live. Shout out to Pink Fan First. She broadcasted live earlier today from the Fan Fest at Bank of America in Charlotte, home of our Carolina Panthers. And of course, next week, this time, your girl will be in Canton, Ohio at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, we saw Drew Brees has officially invited his old favorite coach, Sean Payton, to present to him next week. I'm hoping that I can actually meet them because I'm going to be at the actual enshrinement ceremony. I'm going to be at every event they have next week. So look for your girl to be at least getting some snippets over to Brian so he can get those up for us if I can't go live. And what's up, everybody coming on? But let me tell y'all who's. Oh, wait, hold on. And happy birthday finale to B, who started us off on July 1st. Happy birthday month to him. Tomorrow's August 1st. And happy birthday to my sister, Anissa, Big 50. She said just earlier today that she's trying to do some final posts to wrap up the month. So, all right, now let me push into all the news. Let me tell y'all who is not doing fine. Tony Romo, guys. And let me tell you guys, you Cowboys fans, something that I always try to, argue with the rest of the world. Jerry Jones does say once a Cowboy, always a Cowboy. So don't try to disclaim Tony now and say, oh, he's not a Cowboy. That's just his personal business. Nope. Tony's still a Cowboy. He got a DUI. He got a Dewey. The video is out there. I know it's innocent until proven guilty, but he still received that type of citation. Well, CBS is going to go ahead and be proactive and just accumulate the guilt on him. They're going to go ahead and compute that guilt onto Tony, and they have suspended him. And he was their NFL lead analyst, y'all. I mean, this leave that he's now on, this suspension is indefinite. This arrest he got, and they call it an OWI, operating while under the influence, in Wisconsin. And so they are elevating former defensive player of the year. I just talked about him on my Wednesday show. TJ Watt's brother, JJ Watt, former Houston Texan. He's going to be elevated to lead the broadcast booth besides Jim Nance. Guys, are you guys surprised that that CBS took this type of move already?
No,
Not in the slightest.
not at all.
Over a
It's just
Dewey?
it's business. I mean, it's professionalism and look. I mean, yeah, a Dewey can cause a death. It can cause many different things that can come out of that, and he's the face. He's the face with Jim Nance, along with Jim Nance. He's the head analyst, and he's really good at what he does. I'm a fan of Tony Romo, more so a analyst than I was a quarterback. And so I think that yes, I mean he's really good, but apparently he's really good at other things. I mean, getting him in trouble too as well. So yeah, go. But look, I don't know what his problem is. I think he'll get it straight. Tony's he's pretty much a professional. I just think he just got caught the wrong place, wrong time, doing what he wasn't supposed to do. I mean, I can't say that he's innocent of this. I mean, again, guilty, like you said, innocent until proven guilty. But with video footage and all this other stuff, he'll probably get a slap on the wrist, pay a fine, and get back to working with Jim Nance. But yeah, Jim Nance is actually great, man, at what he does, man.
Yeah.
I love Jim Nance. He did a lot of Super Bowls.
He's known
Uh,
to do this a little bit too, Jim Nance. Yeah.
yeah. They probably, yeah, exactly. And it's not just them. It's a lot of these guys that do this. I
Mm.
mean, they just get that courage, that liquid courage, gets them thinking they can get behind the wheel, and that's the biggest problem. And unfortunately, he just got busted, and somebody just didn't play with him. And I guarantee you, a lot of these guys have gotten behind the wheel, and a lot of times the cops will just give them a warning and slap them on, on the wrist because they know who they are. But whoever this cop was, he just was like not having it. I'm like, no, I mean, it's because it is dangerous. It's a dangerous thing, and so. Uh, Kudos to the police officer.
I
So
don't think he'll get
he
fired.
probably he probably won't be the toast of the town. I guarantee you that.
I
Let's
guess
not
for
encourage more
me,
drinking.
yeah, go ahead, B.
Now I'm saying I think a lot of this stems from the fact that he had videos, and the videos were pretty funny. Tell you the truth, you've seen some of those videos. Where are you on your way to, there, sir? To Grandma and Grandpa's. I'm like, what is this? The three little bears or something? You're going, or the wolf or whatever the hell? You're going to Grandma and Grandpa's, huh? But yeah,
Goldilocks.
he's like, he said something too to the office. Well, first of all, he kind of refused to take a
Breathalyzer.
Breathalyzer.
Yeah, so he kind of messed himself up doing that, but because he's gonna get charged. I mean, the police officer said they smelled it, and then when they towed the car, they could see the open container of alcohol there too. I was like, well, yeah, that's on top of everything else. So, yeah, you're lucky you got the opportunity you had. So, I think CBS did the right steps to suspend him. Let us get his life together there. Probably gonna have him go to like a Alcoholics Anonymous class or something. So he'll be fine. And JJ Watt taking over there. JJ Watt. We'll see how he does.
I'll just say this. I mean, I get that DUIs are serious, but I will and if you refuse to submit to a field sobriety, that is an automatic suspension of your license in a lot of states. I know it is in North Carolina, because that's basically saying you're already accepting that you're doing it and you're refusing to provide the evidence for the conviction. So with that being said, I don't know, y'all. I have a different theory of this, because even though as much as I know that, drinking and driving is bad, and them saying, like, the fact that he refused the field sobriety, we don't know, quote unquote, how drunk he really was. We don't know if he really was past the legal limit or not. He could have just consumed something. Could be a person like myself. I have a very low tolerance, so I don't even need to get to the 0.8, which is the standard amongst a lot of states. I'm already like 0.1. I'm already gone. I'm gone. I don't drink. But with Tony, you just would have to assume, he's been around a lot of people that socially drink or what have you. I'm sure he's drank before. It's not his first time. And so the fact that he had an open container, he's first of all, let's be clear, he's going to get a lawyer. Y'all can go ahead and save this clip right here. Tony Romo is going to get an attorney that is going to have him plead only to the open container, and the rest of this is going to be dismissed because he's Tony Romo. And honestly, without the evidence, the smartest thing he could have done was refuse to blow. Now, the fact that it's an automatic suspension of his license, all he has to do is attend some classes. At least back in the day, you attend a few classes or what have you, and then you get your license back. Now, let's be clear, it's Tony Romo. He don't really even need to drive for a year. He could get him a driver. He's got family. He's got friends. Plead to the open container and get your job back. And honestly, I am surprised that CBS Sports took this initiative, but especially without him having the physical proof, the physical evidence to say that he in fact was legally intoxicated.
So what you just said about getting him a driver, that could have been the first thing you do to prevent all of this.
I know.
Get you a driver before that. People, again, it's just silly. I don't get the drinking thing and getting behind the wheel, man.
That is called. See, that's us. Okay, us would think that way. All right, him being Tony Romo, as the point that Sonia keeps alluding to, is that a lot of these athletes do that. And we always say, well, you could have got an Uber, you could have paid somebody to drive you somewhere, whatever the case may be. Use your sense when you're out there. First of all, there's two situations with this. He's Tony Romo, so he's a famous football player. Second of all, he's a white guy. I don't like bringing race in anything, but those are things that help you out when you're in that position. And it even sometimes comes down to even black athletes that they do this drinking and stuff like that, and they get pulled over and they get DUI. They usually get off too because they know who they are. They're an athlete. So they're like, yeah. So this is why they don't have that mentality. They say, oh, I'm an athlete. I'm going to get away with it anyway because it doesn't make a difference because I got money to pay for a lawyer. All that money you paid for, and it still doesn't circumvent in their brain because all that money you paid for a lawyer, you could have paid for an Uber. You could have paid for somebody to drive you. And you wouldn't have been spending all this money on a lawyer that you wouldn't need because you wouldn't have got pulled over. But
my problem with that is that DUIs, OWIs, or whatever it may be, it's common amongst people, period. It's just not. It's not just the athletes. It's just everybody. And so I'm not going to just say that that's the situation. I think people just, again, when you're inebriated, you think you can do more things than you normally can, and that's, again, it has nothing to do with being an athlete. It just has everything to do with being inebriated.
And you missed my point, though. Some of us will have the thought process before we start drinking, or if we drink, that, hey, I don't need to be driving. Okay, I'm not saying all of us, some of us. I don't think athletes see it the same way. Yeah. I think
it's not just athletes. So I disagree with that because the numbers are so big with people who do it all the time. It's just that aren't athletes.
I'm going to have to interject here and be a moment of transparency. Sorry, Church of Christ family that may be watching this, but I'm going to have a moment of transparency here. I went out with some friends, I think when I first moved to Atlanta. Again, I told you guys I don't drink a lot, but we were all drinking. I wanted to fit in. This is when I was in my 20s, what have you. I remember everybody, and I didn't realize I was drunk until I stood up. Really, for real. I was just like, oh man, everybody's like sloppy drunk. I'll drive. I literally was like, I'll drive. It was a group of girls. I'll drive. I stood up. We were at some restaurant that had booths, and I stood up and I had on boots and immediately felt lightheaded, but I said nothing. Now, granted, they still had taxi cabs back then. I think they may have had, I don't know if Uber was out. I know Lyft was not, but I felt like, for me, that if I drove, I trusted myself driving drunk over than somebody else driving drunk. And so I have to agree with what James said, because even if I was by myself, am I really going to call for a Lyft or Uber if I feel like, you know what, I only had one drink? Yeah, I feel a little lightheaded, but I'm okay to make it to the house. The house just 10 miles away, I'm good. And that's why you see the campaigning for DUIs and stuff, especially with kids, where they say buzz drinking is drunk driving, because just that buzz, that was a DUI. And even more current, New Year's Eve of when 2020 came in. So that was New Year's Eve 2019. Well, I guess it's 2020 because the year 2020 came in. And so that's even more recent. Again, moment of transparency. I drive a big SUV. I drove it to one of my friends' houses. She took me to another person. They're from the islands, and y'all know island folks turn up. And that person like managed their restaurant or something. Every drink you could think of was there. And I was there. Unfortunately, I had just gone through this major breakup in my relationship. So I was depressed. And I just was having fun. And I love fruity stuff. Every colored drink I saw, I grabbed a glass. I mean, this is before the toast. And I remember she came over to me and I didn't feel anything. I just was like, I didn't realize it was that strong. I hadn't eaten anything all day. She was like, girl, you need to probably eat because we're going to do the toast. Are you going to be able to do the toast? I was like, yes, I'm going to be able to do the toast. Did the toast. I do not remember walking out of there with her. I got in the car with her and some of her cousins and her sisters. And I remember them driving me back to their house. And I felt like I was in Super Mario Brothers because I was in the back seat and we were going on this curvy road. And I remember getting to her house and she begged me to just stay the night at her house. And I knew I was way past point oh, because like I said, I had just drank the whole night, probably 8 or 9 drinks, like just drinking. And I remember the New Year's coming in, she begged me not to drive. I was like, girl, I'm only like 3 miles from your house. I got it. And I drove home, but everybody was flashing their lights at me because I couldn't keep my truck on the road. Like I was afraid to even drive 30 because I could feel the truck swerving. And I saw a police officer parked behind a church. And all I could think was, God, please do not let me get pulled. Now I want to talk to God because I know I'm going to go to jail on New Year's Day. And I just got a little bit of way to get home, but it was all curvy. The next day, and this is the last time I ever drank like that. The next day, I thought I had alcohol poisoning. I had walked in the house, had taken everything off, earrings, everything, left my front door wide open. And I'm talking about like propped open so Lawson could go in and out. And one of my neighbors finally came to the house and was like, I just want to make sure you're okay because your truck is in the street. And I'm like, no, it's in the driveway. Y'all, I pulled the front 2 tires on my driveway and left the rest of the truck hanging out in the street. And it was that afternoon before I got up because all I just kept doing was throwing up and going back to bed. And so my friend called me. She's like, I'm just checking on you because you didn't even let us know you got home. We've been worried about you. And I was like, girl, I think I got to go to the hospital. So I'm just saying all that to say, I know for a fact that I was plastered and Lyft and Uber were very much out. And I had the money to do it. And my mindset was like, nope, I'm just right up the street. And that could have turned out way different. And
let me correct the saying. I get what you're saying. Let me say this. Athletes preempt. That's what I mean. So they guys, I'm going to go over this dude's party. We're going to be drinking and everything. And I'm going to leave. I don't care if I get caught because that's what I'm saying. It's preemptive. It's going to be even before they start drinking. They already know they're going to be drinking and they're going to be driving. See, with us, like you didn't know you were going to be drinking that much.
Yeah.
Based on your emotions and whatever you were doing. We all go through that sort of thing. Anyway, we go through that. We didn't think we're going to drink that much and then we end up drinking that much. And then we make that silly thing about going and driving. That's what I mean. I think more athletes are preemptive. They're not doing it after they drink. They're doing it before they drink. In other words, hey, I'm going over to my aunt's house. We're going to be getting sloshed. Yeah. I don't drive home anyway. So they already know what they're doing. But they understand that they're athletes. They might get away with stuff. So I'm not saying we don't do that because we're not in that same category. We're we're professionals that do journalism and whatever that we do in our jobs, a day job. So it's like we don't go to get smashed, but we will. But we don't have the intention of going to drink and getting drunk and then driving home. That's the difference. That's what I'm saying. Athletes are more preemptive of doing it than we are as normal working folks.
Like they got a get out of jail free card or something.
Yeah. Because they're Tony Romo.
You agree, James? You're muted.
It's what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, being drunk is being drunk, and behind.
Yeah, this is true.
It's wrong, and it's dangerous. And like I said, I'm definitely not proud of my lack of good judgment, because I can't say, oh, I was young 4 or 5 years ago, because I wasn't. I mean, I was young, but not young. Like I should have known better. I was grown.
How dare you, Sonia?
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. Please, come on. Please.
And we can have a show on my whole experience in alcohol. Let me tell you. So Sonia, you're a good one for sharing yours, because I can share a whole bunch of mine. But anyway,
yeah, you're a sailor. You're a sailor.
Yes,
so
yes. Speaking of drinking like a sailor.
Speaking of sailing, congratulations are in order. The San Francisco 49ers are about to be lit. Them and the Rams are making moves in the West to make sure that Seattle does not go back to the Super Bowl and Arizona doesn't even get a blink of a glimpse. They are re-signing, and they have re-signed now, free agent wide receiver Deebo Samuel to a 1-year deal, $7 million. So 1 year they got to make sure, because he's been injured. Let's be clear. Ricky Pearsall went down after an injury, but that wide receiver room in San Francisco
is a mess.
Is lit. I mean, they've got Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. He went from Tampa Bay to the Yay area, San Francisco Bay. Then they've got Dijon Stribling, that's out there. And then, of course, Ricky Pearsall has this PCL injury. I mean, how stacked are, the NFC West now contenders, I guess you could say, if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy and comes back and Mr. Irrelevant gets his relevance back. I mean, are we looking at a different 49ers in the new season?
I look at the number 49er in a different way, because the average age is 49 on this wide receiver list.
the senior 49ers.
You got Mike. He's 32 with his injury prone, and yeah, exactly. You got Deebo Samuel. He's 30, and he's coming off a decent year. He had 75 receptions, 727 yards, 5 touchdowns, 10 yards a clip. It's about what you average with him, but he didn't give you the all-purpose yards. Normally you get out of him, you get the rushing, the receiving, the kickoff return, different things like that. He's that type of playmaker. Maybe, getting back under Shanahan, maybe he'll be able to produce that. But again, he's on the wrong side of 30 of somebody he's 30, excuse me. And he's someone who definitely has had injury issues as well. And Pearsall, the same knee problem that he had last year, he was out for 10 games. And so we don't know what is going to happen right now, considering his third practice, he's got a flare up with that PCL. And there's talks that he potentially could be out for the whole year. So we don't know the situation there. And then there's not much there. Stribling is a rookie, so he's just unproven. I mean, he may be 6'2", 207. He ran a 4.3 in the 40. He's fast, and he was a dog at Ole Miss. But this is the pros. I mean, but I'm pretty sure that Shanahan can do some things with him. But I'm looking at this wide receiver room, feeling like termites holding hands to me. And that's why I'm thinking it looks a little sketchy a little bit. Mm-hmm. Even though there's talent there, there's legit talent, but talent that might have been great 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And you got to also understand that Kittles is on a PUP too. So he's coming off an ACL injury, I believe. So, I mean.
And is the running back due for an injury this year? I mean, every other year he's hurt.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that, but these are the things that these are the things that come out there. Yes, I mean that are out there. It's like Philadelphia getting to the Super Bowl, and then one year they're not getting to the Super Bowl. And that's what's been happening with Christian McCaffrey. Uh, he had a good year last year, right?
Yeah, he pretty decent year. Yeah.
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 CMC.
The year before that, it was not good.
Yeah, it wasn't good at all. So obviously, all the stuff they were talking about Christian McCaffrey, about his knees and all that stuff, didn't come into fruition, fortunately for him. So obviously, he can continue this year. I think that he'll have a pretty good year too. But man, that receiving room is just
tight.
Yeah, they're not getting it done. They're not going to get it done with that. I mean, that whole team should be on IR.
And is Trent Williams playing?
The coach is on IR.
Trent Williams should be good.
I hope so. Yeah. And is the coach going to be there? Right. What he's looking for, his phone or something? I mean, what was the issue?
Yeah, he had an accident. Phone fell in the sea. He had broken ribs, scuffed up pretty bad.
Concussion.
He came forward, because they were trying to make it sound like it was another driver's fault, but it was his. And so, if she's got any injuries, she about to get paid. I mean,
she didn't have any. She didn't have anything to get hospitalized for.
Well, even still, that's what I'm saying.
She might get a pain later on, like that $1 million pain. Oh my God, my back, my neck, and my back.
So, like, just for instance, like, I just remember I had an accident a few years ago. Prayerfully, this is the last one. And I was so close to home, literally like 2 lights from my house. I was like, I'm just going to go on to the house or whatever. But I decided to wait for the police, waited almost 3 hours for them. It was crazy that I was waiting that long for them. Lo and behold, the next day, my shoulder starts hurting really, really bad. I don't go to the hospital or anything. And it's just like an impact. I end up having over $300,000 in medical damages because I had to have surgical procedures done on my arm for a superior labrum tear near the rotator cuff. So you never know. Like, you literally never know what's going on. So if he was as careless as, that to look for a phone. I mean, I have a cousin that flipped her Mustang and totaled it in college when she was at UNC Chapel Hill because her phone fell and she decided to reach over for it. And we're just grateful she's here. And thank God that Kyle survived that as well.
My question is if that's legit, well, it's not a question, it's more of an analysis. If that's legit that he reached down and grabbed his phone, this is why 28-3 happened in Atlanta. This is why the 2 Super Bowls in San Francisco were lost because of bad decision making, Kyle Shanahan. I'm going to have to give it to you, buddy.
Falcon fans say that it's the Falcon curse, that because he made them get their playbook stolen by leaving it at the airport. For
Bad
decision making.
Yeah, for who leaves a whole backpack
have had bad
airport?
luck. Falcons have had bad luck in Super Bowls all the way since Denver beat them.
And I'm going to give Kyle Shanahan credit for being an offensive genius. He's you can't take that away from him. But for whatever reason, some decisions that he makes, it just costs him dearly.
I mean,
and,
but a backpack,
and at the biggest moments.
A backpack you strap on your back. There's no excuse to leave a backpack. A duffel bag, okay, you might leave that. But a backpack, bro, and it happens to have the playbook in it, and that's all that's in it, and it shows up 3 or 4 days later after it's been Xerox and everything. That's an old school term for your young people. Xerox copied all that stuff, screenshotted, I guess now.
Printed, yes.
Yeah, printed. All right, well, let's move over to some NFC South talk. I will let James tell his great news coming out of New Orleans regarding Christopher. I guess it's Christopher. It might just be Chris Olave, Mr. Olive Oil himself. I like to always think about like the olive oil that they use for mayonnaise and stuff. Every time they say Olave, I just think about like a sandwich or something like made with nice, like the healthy olive oil type mayonnaise that's healthy for you.
And welcome to Friday with the Fellas.
You. I mean, well, let's get into Chris Olave's new contract, ladies and gentlemen. One of the 4 hold-ins or 3 hold-ins that are out there, Jameer Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and 4 Vita Vea, Tulu, Tulu, whatever, however you say that guy's name in the Los Angeles Chargers. Chris Olave had a short hold in. His agent, Rosen, what's the Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah.
He got the contract done. He got him 4 years, 132 million with 90 million guaranteed. And there's one of the pundits on for the New Orleans Saints that seems to think that being the highest paid receiver is not correct for him, for Chris Olave, because he believes he's a good number 2, not a true number 1. I don't care what he is. My man, he's out there persevering, getting through those concussions. He had career highs last year with Tyler Shuck, a rookie. He deserved, get that man his bag. He got his bag. Now he can get out there on the field. And New Orleans, like Sonya says, I'm gonna tell everybody we're coming. We are coming.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, well, y'all swept us last year, so perhaps you're coming. I mean, I guess because we know for sure with the debacle in. So congratulations to Chris first and foremost. He's very well deserves it. The market plus performance demands that he would have gotten this type of payday. So hopefully he lives up to the hype. Because we see these players, unfortunately, we've seen Dak Prescott do it, of holding out, get this big contract, then he's not producing. So got to look at it from that way. Baker Mayfield, now Tampa, let's be clear. Now, James, you and I can agree Tampa is imploding. I had a whole back and forth. Mike Patton, if you watching, you just watching. I had a whole back and forth with him yesterday about, this is what happens all the time. I said, dude, Baker is on his way out. He's taking his pots and pans somewhere else and turning the oven on somewhere else. He is not happy in Tampa. This is not the first rumblings we have heard of this. Mike Evans already left. That's his Robin to his Batman. Now you got Vita Vea wanting to get out of there. You guys already let the South get away from you last year with a 3-way 8-9 tie that should not have been, because you were the reigning NFC South champs regardless, and you went to the playoffs the last previous years before that and were sustainable and competitive and beating some of the more dominant teams during the regular season. You cannot close games. And honestly, Dan Morgan going to the Carolina Panthers, that was his guy. This is Baker's 4th offensive coordinator in as many years. Tampa is imploding. They're getting ready to start with another OC. They're imploding, and they can go ahead and go right on back to the bottom, like the anchor on the ship that they are, that they've been dwelling in the bottom of the NFC South. Fire those cannons and shoot a hole in the side of your ship because you're sinking. You're done. And Mike Patton tried to tell me, Baker get a contract. Sir, and whoever else is watching, and NFC South platforms that are allowing us to share this live feed, and we thank everybody for this. Baker went on his social media and said he felt disrespected. That is not a word you just lightly throw around and then all of a sudden, we're kumbaya. Baker had a yesterday. They actually did a actual. They tried to come up with a contract for him.
Oh no, yeah.
Baker rejected it. Let me tell you guys the terms of the deal. The terms of the deal was a 2-year deal worth over $50 million per year. So $100 million in total value. And he rejected it. He's 31 years old. So you guys know we talked about being north of that 30 mark. He said he felt the structure of the deal wasn't suitable and made it clear that he wanted an extension longer than 2 years, which were prominent factors in him turning down the offer. And a lot of people don't know, but Tampa Bay does know. Baker's the one that implemented this deadline. He was like, listen, by the time training camp starts, y'all better have me my coins. Run me my coins. So now he said, and I quote, Baker was long dismayed by what he deemed was a low initial offer from the Buccaneers in June and called out the franchise in his presser on Thursday, like James just mentioned, citing a lack of respect, which is the same as disrespect, and being undervalued as a proven franchise quarterback. Now, the Bucks are this is on Football Forever and on Yahoo Sports. The Bucks have now come out, and as of today, they have said they are not happy with him going public with his presser, with his comments about the franchise, and this has made it now awkward for them to work with him, and it's going to be a difficult situation on both sides. Now, this is Baker's last year anyway with them. $33.3 million set to void on February 16th, 2027, right after national holiday, my birthday, leaving behind $30.15 million of dead cap for next season. And if you add that $50 million franchise tag to that equation, it will be extremely difficult for the Buccaneers to accommodate, making the likelihood that Mayfield hits the free agency on March the 11th of next year extremely high. Guys, I know this is a lot of theater to unpack. And so let me let you guys sit with this for a minute because I forgot our commercial break. When we come back, I'd love to get you guys ideas. We'll be right back with the Baker Mayfield debacle coming up right after this.
I ain't never worried about a thing. I just gotta stay in my lane.
All right, and we are back. Thank you so much for joining us for the second half of Friday with the Fellas. Guys, we left off at a very big moment here. Baker Mayfield and now the Bucks clearly at an impasse, and they're airing out all their energy for the whole world to see.
Well, that's on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they're pissing enough people off. And talking about drying they're putting their laundry out there to dry for Baker Mayfield to say that stuff. He is getting disrespected. The dude's played like an all-pro. He's been an all-pro for the last couple of seasons. He's played through pain. He's played through bad offensive line play. He's played through a whole bunch of stuff. And the $50 million contract, don't let them say that. There was a lot of incentives. He said he wasn't satisfied because there was a lot of incentives or guaranteed that were guaranteed. It wasn't 50 million and guarantees. It was 50 million including guarantees and incentives. So he wants the 50 million, and if you throw incentives and guarantees in there, that's fine. But he feels he shouldn't have to go through all that. That's where he feels like he's disrespected, and I don't blame him. You got to pay these players, and I know they're trying to fix Vita Vea's problem, and they built a defense around Vita Vea. So I would consider what they're doing right now is saying, well, fine, if you don't want a contract, then we might just have to let you go. But we got to keep Vita Vea because he's our anchor of our defense. So we're going to try to pay him, which is probably a relief to them that this whole thing is going on with Baker. Because now they can say, well, I don't really have to pay him. We can pay Vita Vea because we need Vita Vea for the defense. And who's the head coach of that team? Ain't he a defensive-minded head coach? There you go. So, unfortunately, Baker's going to probably be playing on a different team next year. But I'm sure that team will be lucky to have him.
Yeah, so. James, do you agree that Tampa's imploding, and that means we don't have to worry about them in the race for the South?
Of course, the Pamper Bay Poopineers are imploding. They crap in their bed. They crapping in their pants. I mean, they did last year, and it seems that the spillage is spilling over into this season. Because you look at Tampa Bay and the situation, you can look at this situation two ways, from the viewpoint of Baker Mayfield and the viewpoint of the office. Baker Mayfield, you feel disrespected. I agree with you. I agree with BA and what he's thinking in regards to him being disrespected. But at the same time, let your agent handle this. I heard one of the guys on one of the analysts on ESPN say that you have to let your agent handle this. It's a negotiation period. You can't. I mean, Baker's a little hot-headed. He gets a little short-tempered. He gets it. He gets his mind in his mind. He wants to say something and let it go, flying out, and then think about the consequences later. You're what? He's 31 now. What is he? 31, 32? Yeah, man. Come on. You got to grow up at some point. I mean, I get what you're saying. I understand, but you got to let your agent handle it. You cutting your nose off to spite your face. You got to let your agent take care of this business and negotiate with the team. If you know it's a bad deal, you know they're trying to lowball you. But I mean, with that being said, you got to let the team now from the viewpoint of the team. Baker may not be top 5. He's not. He may not be top 10. I don't think he is. He could be top 12, top 13, top 15 quarterback. And is that going to be good enough to be great, to get past what – I mean, they never had anything greater than Tom Brady there. And I think Baker's probably the second best quarterback that's been there in the history of the Tampa Bay organization right now, looking at him from what he was able to do, with them there. Giving them 4,000 yards, giving them 35 touchdowns total in rushing and passing, and maybe 10, 11 interceptions, averaging that. So you can't. It's like having a Dak Prescott, but you lost Mike Evans. You lost some players in the defense. You're potentially about to lose another player on defense. You got a great receiver out of Ohio State that's there now. So, may have a better was it his second season last year?
No, that was his first.
That was his first, right. Oh yeah, he kind of fell off. That's what it was. He fell off towards the end. Yeah, but he's gonna be better this year. So he's probably your number one receiver there. Yeah, you would hope. And I don't know if they got anybody else to add on to the mix there, but you got a defensive player there. Your defense is gonna be stout. Like you said, if you can keep Vita Vea there, you got the other kid they just drafted on the edge out of Miami. What's the kid's name? Ruben Baines.
Alex Anzalone from the Lions. They got Anzalone. They got Muhammad from the Lions. So I mean, their
defense is going to be shored up, right?
Yeah, it's going to be shored up. Yeah,
but offensively, there's a question mark. But the problem with the organization, I'm going to say this last thing and let you go back to you, Sonia. The problem with the organization is that I don't know if they're viewing it from the standpoint, if Baker comes out and balls out and they're middle of the road or better, you're not going to draft. This quarterback draft is coming up is actually pretty decent coming up. You're not going to get any of those guys in the top 5, top 6 drafts because you're going to be middle of the road or later in the first round if Baker shores up. So you got to treat him with some respect and dignity. You got to figure out what you can get at least for 1 year, 2 year, franchise him, tag him, or whatever the situation is. But I see both sides here, and I think Baker just needs to, kind of keep his mouth shut and let his agent.
I think the reason why he opened his mouth, he's not going to be there. That's the only reason why I feel because he's not. He is brash at some things. He does say a lot of stuff. He does talk a lot of stuff. But I think in this, he already knows he ain't coming back to Tampa Bay. So this is a lost cause anyway. So he just came out and said what he had on his mind. That's why I just think that's why he did that. I'm sure that he would want. I mean, he's been quiet up to this point about the whole, the whole.
He's always been an overachiever. He's a short dude. He's always been the guy that
Napoleon
with the chip on his
complex.
shoulder. He got a chip on his shoulder. So I mean, obviously, he said it was disrespected, meaning he felt hurt. He think this is the home where he wants to be and retire with Tampa Bay. And he mentioned he got his kids in the school and all this other kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he felt disrespected. Again, this is that guy that probably didn't start, had to walk on. That's the guy coming out right now. That's that guy coming out. So he knows the situation is like, okay, I'm finally here, and these guys still not respecting me. I still got to come out and show who Baker Mayfield is, and that's what he's going to do when he get on the field this year. I mean, this season coming up. Even with the crappy receivers that they might have, Baker gonna go out and show out. He gonna cook.
I feel like this is gonna be a combination of two things. So first of all, I didn't know that the 50 million was plus all the other stuff. I thought that was like Tampa's.
Yeah, it's included. The 50 million was included of all the guarantees and stuff. Yeah,
you're saying, yeah, that is a slap. That's like you basically gave him 30 then, and the 20 is an incentive. So that's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like kind of like what James was saying, and what you're saying too, B. I feel like Baker will not be there. I stand on that because the type of words that have been used in these pressers, it sounds like it's beyond the stage of being amicable. So that lets me know they're just like, play the last of your time out, bro, and then deuces. But I feel like Tampa is going to be in the same situation Seattle was this year when they see Sam Darnold when he came from Minnesota, because Baker, if you look at his history, he has every other team success. We started with the Browns, meh. Went over to the Panthers, okay, looking good. Now with Tampa, meh. Then started looking good. Now
he was with the Rams too for a minute.
The Rams, yeah, but he
won them a couple of games. He came in there to start because Stafford had went out. He came in there to start. I think he won both the games that they played.
Yeah, but he was their number 2, and he came in because Stafford was out, so he wasn't their number. In a number 1 starting role. I feel like Baker is not a number 2 quarterback. I feel like he is a number 1 quarterback, but with Tampa moving all these people around, the people that he needed the most, especially, I just cannot get over Mike Evans. I just cannot get over Mike Evans. That is going to be huge, and we're going to be having the same conversation next year, and we'll be like, yep, told you. Tampa's sunk to the bottom of the ocean like the ship with the hole in the side that they are. So, as I always like to say, the verdict is out. But we know that Baker's has already packed up his Martha Stewart pots and pans, and he's waiting for his U-Haul to pick him up to go to the next oven and turn on the oven over there. Let's do some congratulations real quick. Speaking of being out and about, DeAndre Hopkins announces his retirement today, but he's not done with the game. He's going to be over at Georgia Tech right here in Atlanta with a little coaching position over there, little offensive staff. He attended the Patriots training camp. You guys probably remember we talked about that a few days ago. But he actually got hired by Georgia Tech as their offensive assistant on Brent Key's football staff. So he's 34 years old, north of that 30 mark. They said he's still holding out a possibility that he may come back to the league. I mean, heck, why not? Aaron Donald and everybody else does it. But 13 seasons, wide receiver, a little bit of a journeyman, 3-time first team All Pro Bowl 2017 through 2018, second team All Pro in 2015 through 2020, 5-time Pro Bowl 2017 through 2020, and NFL receiving touchdowns leader in 2017. Over 1,000 receptions, 13,295 yards, 85 touchdowns, and 195 career games, and 172 of those were starts. Got a lot of love for D-Hop. I follow him on LinkedIn. He's talked about for a while weighing his options if he was going to stay in the league or not. And so kudos to him for being able to find that position over at Georgia Tech. I know you guys probably are not surprised about it because we haven't really, once you start seeing players kind of get a little quiet, you kind of just see that the writing is on the wall, so to speak. Got another retirement today. I just had it pulled up. Sorry, guys. Chargers. player. I just had a brain freeze.
Just
And
while
this
you're
one
looking
just
that up, the other thing, he went to training camp in New England to get a receivers coach position.
oh
Let me tell
okay.
you
So
something
not
about
the
D Hop. Let me tell you about D Hop. I think that coaching is in his blood. I think I think he's one of the most intelligent receivers that played the game too. He's one of those guys, and I think he's transcending that to being a coach. And I think once he finds his niche as a coach, he ain't coming back. He's going to be a good coach, though. He's
you
going to be
agree,
a very
James?
good coach.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I also want to add on about D Hopkins. D Hop, you mentioned all his stats. Those credentials are Hall of Fame worthy.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. He may not be a first ballot because it's really hard for receivers to get in no matter what. I
Oh,
don't care
Yeah.
how hard, but
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely going to get in at some point.
Yeah.
And
Most
I think he'll be a good coach somewhere too
D
as
Hop.
well.
yeah, D
Mm-hmm.
Hop.
Out of
Second
Clemson.
retired. Yep, out of Clemson. Veteran defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins is retiring after 12 seasons in the NFL. He's 34 as well. Selected by the Giants in the second round of the 2013 NFL draft. Out of Ohio State. He's played with a gang of teams, y'all. Colts, Raiders, Cowboys, and Seahawks. 433 total tackles, 239 of those were by himself, 44 TFLs, 18 and a half sacks, and 169 career games, and 142 of those were starts by him. So kudos to him as well. I mean, a lot of big stuff happening, of course, across the league. And then we talked a little bit about the injuries that have gone on, some season ending for Chris Brazil out of the Carolina Panthers out, Nick Scorton out, both of them out. PCL injury and ACL injury, respectively. But this is the time of year we see all this kind of stuff happen, and we just kind of just keep everything. It's a busy time of year, and they said that the Ohio State, has the most paid during the last two off seasons, $527
Receivers. Yeah.
million. With Chris Olave being one of those gentlemen, Jackson Smith and Jigba being another one, where they racked up during the off season all of this money between just this class of
Garrett
guys
Wilson.
out of the Ohio State. Yes. So they are $527.6 million. Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Chris Olave out of there. 527.6 in total money. This breaks a deal in NFL history amongst from one specific school that is cashing in that amount of money in such a short period of time. So congratulations to those guys. I do want to do a condolence to the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator's family. Unfortunately, his wife, she was younger than we all are, guys, lost her battle to cancer. Looks like it was yesterday morning. And so the Atlanta Falcons are extending, their condolences and prayers for her. Her name's Christina. I was trying to look to find her actual name. I know I talked about it with you guys yesterday, but she was with them. And that's the thing. I didn't realize that they had gotten a new OC. I guess I just did not follow that. The Falcons have just done so much moving around. Okay, her name was it was Christina Ubrick. Their defensive coordinator. My apologies, not offensive coordinator. Jeff Ubrick. She battled cancer. She was a devoted mother, wife, and friend, and mother of three, in fact. And she is a couple of years younger than me and James are, so not even 50. So condolences to coach's wife's family and all their family and friends, and to the Atlanta Falcons overall. Just a beautiful young lady and gone way too soon.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So we, believe it or not, do have like a little bit of other news before we hop off of here. Our time is almost up. B, you got any Lions news going on here?
Nothing but the holdout of Gibbs. That's about all there is. And Kirby, Kirby says he's going to try to be back for the first game of the season. I like to see that with my own two eyes, but we'll see. Other than that, yeah, there's no other news really.
Well, I see
That's
that
the biggest. Gibbs is the biggest news.
Gibbs is the biggest news. We got the Chris Olave news. Cleveland Browns coming out today. Got to give a shout out to Coach Prime. Y'all know last year I gave a lot of little backlash, but they've grown on me. Coach Prime actually was able to pull up the Shador's practice this week. He said last year he didn't get a text from Shador. This year he got it, so he wanted to surprise him and show up because Colorado's back in practice as well. So this is going to be the only time they're able to actually see each other. But Cleveland Browns safety Grant Delpit actually signed a 3-year $48 million extension today. $35 million is guaranteed out of that. So Cleveland is trying to do big things. And there's a UFL, as we get ready to close up here, there's a UFL to NFL wave that's going on. There's a talent pipeline. Everybody sees it. You'll see NFL players that don't make the NFL. They go play for the UFL, what have you. Well, over the final week of this week of July alone, 31 UFL players have either worked out or signed with NFL clubs. The 2026 UFL Defensive Player of the Year, linebacker Cam Gill, joined my Carolina Panthers this week, and cornerback DJ Miller signed with the Buffalo Bills. Now, that is really big because you got to think once they go into the UFL, sometimes you don't see them anymore. You don't see their talent anymore. You don't get a chance to see it displayed. But this is not the Panthers' first time signing somebody out of the UFL. They signed PJ Walker as a quarterback. And I remember watching him. They're like, wow, that guy is awesome. Came to Carolina. I did not see that same type of energy. I saw it for a couple of games. Then it was like, okay, sir. And I was literally
UFL.
Like, I will say, I know we got a few minutes, but PJ Walker threw that last minute bomb to DJ Moore when he was playing there. So yeah, he had a couple of moments where he shined because like you say, he was the MVP of that UFL for sure.
Yeah, the UFL is just it is a time of signings for the UFL to go into the NFL, but what happens is this is like filler positions too. You got to remember that. And the reason why they come from the UFL, and I'm not saying there's no players that make it, because God help me, the Lions have one that made it, and that was Jake Bates, our kicker. That dude has got a rocket leg. But at the same time, a lot of these UFLers that come from there, they're getting a second chance. But it also means they're going to be probably on third or fourth teams. And they're probably not going to get another chance. You know, they're coming in to fill spots up. Like if players are
camp bodies, right?
Camp bodies. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Camp bodies. I'm not saying none of them can make it. I'm not saying that. PJ Walker was one, but we've had others to do that. But that's usually what it's about.
Diego Pavia should do the other way. He should go to the UFL. He should go play there.
A little bit. And a closing thought. Got to kick it back to the Atlanta Falcons real quick. There's a quarterback fiasco, so much to the point that the Falcons have gone out and signed Cooper Rush now. Tua Tagovailoa has not done any 11-11 on practices yet. Neither has Michael Penix Jr. Both quarterbacks, Penix trying to establish that he's going to be ready to go by week 1. Tua coming in saying his back is already hurting. Neither one of them have done full routes or practices this week. It's going to be interesting to see what next week looks like. So the Falcons were like, you know what? We're going to go get us a third quarterback. Same old Falcons with this 8-9 Kevin Stefanski with the same old things. You guys can also join the Tampa Bay Bucks at the bottom. It'll be between the Saints and the Panthers this year. And with that, that's all we got. Have an amazing Friday finale of July. Welcome to August on tomorrow. Join B and James in the morning with Jack Hirsch, a.k.a. Oscar the Grouch, for the Great Debate Show. And make sure you stay tuned to McGrath Podcast Network, BW Flicks, and all of those. They're going to be doing, guys, we got a quick second. Tell us what movies you guys are going to be featuring on next Tuesday's BW Flicks.
Okay, so BW Flicks, we will be reviewing Deep Cover and King of New York. And it will feature the bio of Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes. So, I'm excited.
Formerly known as Larry Fishburne.
Yes, you guys go ahead and get your 90s out, and these are on Tubi. free of charge.
Mm-hmm.
No
That's
affiliation with Tubi. We're not getting endorsed by them. All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks, guys, for a fun show. Likes, love, and shares. With that, we wish you guys a peace.